Hey everyone, welcome back to Easy English Podcast. I'm Alexa.
And I'm Nick. So happy you're here with us today.
Okay, Nick, today's topic is such a good one. We are talking about social anxiety, what it is, how to talk about it in English, and why so many people feel it.
Yes, and honestly, this is a topic that I think a lot of people can relate to, whether you're a native speaker or you're learning English as a second language.
Exactly. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
So, Alexa, before we get into the details, why do you think social anxiety is such an important topic to talk about?
That's a great question. I think so many people experience it but don't have the words to describe it, especially in English. Like you feel something but you can't explain it.
Right, and if you can name something, you can talk about it. And talking about it actually helps.
Totally. And for English learners, social situations can feel even more stressful, right? You're worried about your grammar, your pronunciation, and on top of that, you might already feel nervous around people.
Exactly. So today we want to give you the vocabulary and the confidence to talk about this topic with friends, at school, at work, anywhere.
So let's talk about what social anxiety actually feels like. That's our first section. What does social anxiety feel like?
Okay, so I'll be honest, I used to feel really self-conscious at parties. Like I'd walk into a room and immediately think, everyone is looking at me. Am I standing weird? Is my face doing something strange?
Oh my gosh, yes. That feeling of being watched even when nobody is actually paying attention to you. That's such a classic sign of social anxiety.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, it becomes a cycle. You feel self-conscious, so you get nervous, and then because you're nervous, you start to act awkward, and then you feel even more self-conscious.
That reminds me of something that happened to me in college. I had to introduce myself in class, just say my name and one fact about myself. Simple, right? But I was so apprehensive about it that my hands were actually shaking.
Wow, really? Over just an introduction?
I know it sounds small, but that's the thing about social anxiety. It doesn't have to be a big situation. Even small moments can feel overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel ashamed about that. Like they think, why am I so nervous? This is nothing. But feeling that way doesn't mean something's wrong with you.
Absolutely. And there's actually a word for that moment when you replay a social situation in your head later. It's called overthinking. You leave a conversation and then think, did I say something weird? Did they like me?
Oh, I do that constantly. You go home and suddenly remember something you said 3 hours ago and think, why did I say that?
Exactly. And that kind of overthinking is really exhausting. It drains your energy even when nothing bad actually happened.
Right. So, just to recap what we said, social anxiety can show up as feeling self-conscious, being apprehensive before social events, feeling overwhelmed in small situations, and overthinking conversations afterward.
Well said. And recognizing those feelings is actually the first step. So let's move on to our next section, how social anxiety affects everyday situations. Okay, so Nick, let's get specific. Where do you think social anxiety shows up most in everyday life?
Hmm. For me, it's definitely at work or school. Any situation where you have to speak up in front of a group, like raising your hand to answer a question or speaking in a meeting.
Yes, that is such a big one. There's this fear of being judged, like, what if I say something wrong and everyone thinks I'm stupid?
Totally. And for English learners, this is even more intense, right? Because you're also thinking about the language while you're thinking about the content of what you're saying.
That's such a good point. You have double the pressure, and sometimes that pressure makes you go completely blank. Like you know the answer, but suddenly your mind is just empty.
Yes, I call that freezing up. Your brain just stops working for a second. It's like a computer that crashed.
I love that analogy. And another everyday situation, what about making phone calls? I know so many people who have a real aversion to calling strangers on the phone.
Oh, completely. Emails feel safe because you can edit them, but a phone call? It's live. You can't take it back. I used to avoid making appointments just because I didn't want to call.
Same. And I think social media has actually made this worse for some people. You're constantly comparing yourself to others, and that comparison can intensify the feeling that you're not good enough socially.
That's so true. You see someone on Instagram looking super confident and social, and you think, why can't I be like that? But you're comparing your inside feelings to their outside appearance.
Exactly, and that's never a fair comparison. Most people feel nervous sometimes, they're just not posting about it.
Right. So in everyday life, social anxiety can make things like speaking up in class, making phone calls, or even just scrolling through social media feel really stressful.
And the key word here is feel, because a lot of the time, the situation isn't actually as dangerous as it feels. Our brain has a tendency to exaggerate the risk.
Well said. Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff. What can you actually do about it?
Okay, practical tips. I love this part. So, Nick, what's one thing that has genuinely helped you with social anxiety?
Honestly, preparation. If I know I have to speak in a meeting or introduce myself somewhere, I practice what I want to say beforehand, even just once or twice out loud.
That's such simple but powerful advice. Saying something out loud, even to yourself, makes it feel more familiar, less scary.
Exactly. And another thing that helped me was something called reframing. Instead of thinking everyone is judging me, I try to think most people are focused on themselves, not on me.
I love that. It's a small mental shift, but it really changes how you feel going into a situation. Another tip I'd add is start small. You don't have to give a speech on day one.
Yes, maybe today you just say hello to a neighbor. Tomorrow you ask a question in class. Small wins build confidence over time.
And for our English learners especially, speaking in a second language already takes courage. So please give yourself credit for that. Every time you open your mouth in English, that is brave.
That is so true. And remember, mistakes are normal. Native speakers make mistakes too. Nobody is expecting you to be perfect.
Nobody at all. And finally, if social anxiety is really affecting your daily life, it's okay to talk to someone about it, a friend, a counselor, anyone you trust. You don't have to figure it out alone.
Beautifully said, Alexa. The main takeaway here is recognize the feeling, be kind to yourself, and take small steps. That's it.
Okay, so today we talked about what social anxiety feels like, how it shows up in everyday life, and some real tips to help manage it.
And we learned some great vocabulary along the way. Self-conscious, apprehensive, overwhelmed, overthinking, reframing. Really useful words for talking about emotions in English.
If this episode helped you even a little, please give it a like and share it with a friend who might need it too.
And our next episode is going to be just as good, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. You're doing amazing. We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.